Coming to work on time is a miracle to the majority. However, to Jim Carrey, appearing on set was not only about hitting points and reciting lines, it was about destruction. Beautiful, funny, uncontrollable destruction.
Freaking miracle to get to work on time.
Jim Carrey does not only lose himself on the set, he kills all the others as well. He has been the human incarnation of a natural calamity, sweeping film sets and leaving behind him a trail of broken characters, sobbing co-stars, and film that was in more cases than not funnier than the film itself. Whether it was rudimentary hobgoblin larceny that caused the veteran actors to lose their speech to viral snickering that brought the directors to yelling cut, these are the scenes when the cast gave up the ship. This is the tale of how one man made Hollywood to his own comedy playground. Chapter 1. The dinner date that went askew. That is why the co-stars of Jim Carrey had the reason to learn to expect the unexpected. In one of the most memorable scenes, an innocent inquiry about dinner plans led to a full-scale and utter destruction in under a minute.
I'll have dinner with you, though.
Should we?
Yeah.
Can you get me laid?
As soon as these words came out of his mouth, the scene was complete. The actress knew it, the crew knew it, everyone watching knew it, and none could be recovered after that. Jim had managed to implant the notion that her innocent dinner invitation was in reality something much, much more. Well, it's over for you. It is, isn't it? The humor of the comedy performed by Jim Carrey lies in the fact that he does not simply provide jokes. He makes whole worlds of connotation by the flick of an eye. To his credit, his co-star attempted to rescue the take. She then volunteered to dine with him, but Jim was not going to let her off that easily. Can you get me laid? And there another actor was melted down to a pool of laughter. This is the Jim Carrey effect. You can prepare, you can rehearse, you may harden yourself to all manner of improvisations, but Jim will always make the angle you are not supposed to take, the word you are not supposed to jump at, the question you would never think that anybody could ask. Chapter 2, the nose joke nobody saw coming. Everyone is as familiar with the old got your nose joke, right? It is an innocent setting of children jocularity, an innocent joke on unsuspecting children. Make it a fist of your hand and make it look as though you are taking their nose away and they laugh. Simple. As it turns out, Jim Carrey is physical a lot more than you would expect. But when the time to be on camera to do this classic bit came, Jim did not resort to cute. He didn't go for playful. He approached as close to real violence as possible. What it gave birth to was a piece of physical comedy that truly made his co-star doubt whether she retained her original features on her face. The expression of her face speaks volumes. It's not acting. It's not performance. It is pure confusion on what has happened to her. Jim did not feign to remove her nose. He threw himself at her face with the sort of fidelity that would make a stuntman shudder. That is what makes Jim Carrey stand out among other comedians. The majority of the actors would tell the joke, get the laugh, proceed. Jim makes each and every moment count, and he takes it a notch higher than what anyone anticipates. The nose wasn't just taken, it was conquered. Chapter 3, the eternal soul who taught the wrong subject. Jim Carrey was expected to be all-powerful in one of his most famous roles, an entity with unlimited power, and it can bend the reality to his desire. However, this scene is the one that hints that he has been learning about the wrong kind of immortal being in its entirety. The setup was simple enough. His character had to clarify that he had a very rare type of blood, a B negative, clinically, specifically, quite rational dialogue.
I need my blood. I have a very rare blood type. I'm AB negative.
I'm IB positive.
Am I AB negative or am I
I don't know what you are anymore.
The delivery was perfect, the timing was impeccable, and the subject matter was pure nonsense. But that is the genius of Jim Carrey. He knows that it is not about being right in comedy, it's about being unexpected. A B positive may be widespread, but Jim Carrey says so with such conviction. That is what makes blooper reels folklore. Sounds delicious. With those two words, Jim was reminding everybody why he is in a league of his own. Since you are Jim Carrey, even the blood type can taste good. Chapter 4, committing felonies on camera. The fact that Jim Carrey commits felony on the screen makes it very clear the victims are his co-stars. It is vexingly disturbing to see a comedian step over the boundary between acting and what appears to be sincere criminal intent. It is a looming danger, threatening and ridiculous equally. The face of Jim is changed into something which a human being usually cannot do. His co-star is torn between real pain and uncontrolled laughter, a place that Jim Carrey likes to be. To make you comfortable, he does not want you to be. He does not intend that you should feel safe. He wants you to laugh and at the same time asks yourself whether you should call security maybe. This is the point where the threat falls into pure physical comedy. The threatening figure that has just sworn to come back now cannot see through his own misted up glasses. It is a comedy masterpiece. Develop the tension, create the threat, and then deflate the whole situation with an appropriately timed physical punchline. And it always does. Since Jim Carrey knows that the elements of comedy and threat are two sides of the same coin, the most difficult part is the timing of when to turn it. Chapter 5, Bruce Almighty, more like Shoes Almighty. Bruce Almighty is one of the most popular movies of Jim Carrey. However, beneath the surface, it was something different, a demonstration of how Jim can use any prop as a weapon of mass hilarity. In this specific blunderer, he chose to speak out on the elephant in the room. Well, sort of, the elephant of his own shoes.
It's called misdirection. So don't stare at it.
The him was actually the foot of Jim, which had somehow transformed into a personality by itself. It is this type of improvisation that sets Jim Carrey apart of all the other comedians on the planet. The majority of actors pay attention to their lines, their performance, their relations with the other characters. Jim focuses on everything: the shoes, the furniture, the air in the room. It's all material. His reaction with his co-star is all it takes. She is attempting to hold on to character, to remain a part of the scene, to play along with the fact that the man opposite her is not at this moment talking about his own foot as though it were a different person altogether. She's failing, obviously. Everyone fails eventually. What is so brilliant about the situation is that Jim does not even need a laugh. He is fully invested in the bit, and this is how he handles his shoe as he would handle a fellow actor. That is the key to his success. He does not even wink at the audience. He does not indicate that he is making fun. He is merely comic all the way through to the core of his being. Chapter 6, the Morgan Freeman breaking. You would know that an award-winning actor like Morgan Freeman can maintain his composure with somebody as Jim Carrey. Morgan Freeman has looked death in the face. He's played God himself. The voice is the one that has given the history of the universe. He must be inaccessible to a bit of on-set mess.
I figured you'd dance.
Oh, it's mine.
Yeah, it's you.
The scene necessitated Morgan to respond to the antics of Jim with a deity disapproval. However, when Jim went into his routine, something went wrong. The voice of the galaxies, the face of wisdom itself, Morgan Freeman, the voice of wisdom, lost it entirely. Jim, of course, was delighted. He had done the unthinkable. He had made God laugh. Not the personality, but the real actor of God. The scene is pure gold as it reminds us that nothing can make you ready to go through all the list of Jim Carrey as an actor. And the laughter was already out of the way. There was no putting it back. Morgan Freeman, in a case, had one glorious moment when he was only a guy who did not want to burst into laughter at his silly co-star, and failing magnificently. Chapter 7, the joke that wouldn't die. The brain of Jim Carrey has got endless jokes. It is as though it is a comedy vending machine, which does not run out of stock. And this very malefactor demonstrates that he was simply not able to switch it off, even when the cameras were turned off.
What?
One more walk and you'll be a light bulb.
The joke itself is simple, a pun really, nothing special on paper, but in the hands of Jim it was another thing altogether. The line, the timing, the physical obligation to the punchline, all of it made him create a moment that his co-stars just could not deal with. Years after, Jim concluded that this was too good a joke to resign. He reintroduced it as the second round, polished it off, and presented it with the air of a person who has no doubts about the humor of what he is about to say. The repetition is the joke. Punchline is the callback. Jim realizes that comedy does not always involve novelty. It is about developing a common language with your audience, references and moments that form a connection. He did not simply tell the light bulb joke years later because he was being funny. He was accepting the fact that certain jokes will never grow old, and there are comedians who understand the use of those jokes perfectly well. Chapter 8, bathroom breaks and boundaries. There are rules that are very strict concerning taking of bathroom breaks in some film sets. Schedules are tight, budgets are tighter, time is money, and it is the actors who are supposed to balance their needs according to the production and not vice versa. Did that stop Jim Carrey? Absolutely not. The setup is simple. Jim needs to use the bathroom. However, rather than just exonerating himself in the manner of a regular human being, he turns the situation into theatrics. His co-stars stand and stare in horror and fascination as Jim gives him his all in the bit. The music which comes in its wake cannot be described. It's not human. It's not animal. It is pure Jim Carrey, a sound which appears to be emitted by some point of voice outside of the ordinary vocal cords. His co-stars are powerless, caught between the disgust and laughter, and that is what Jim wants. That is what it is like to deal with Jim Carrey. You never even know at what point a visit to the bathroom will become a career-defining moment. You can never tell when you are expected to respond to the sounds which are not supposed to be there. One only has to cling on and hope that he will be spared his dignity. Most of them didn't. Chapter 9, Chilled Plans, Bumbling Sociology. There is not a single person who has not experienced times when good intentions collide with awkward reality, and something smooth you will do. You think of taking it away in smooth eloquence, and then you are betrayed by your own body and you end up being a morality lesson. This video is the most appropriate testimony.
I'm mad at you.
Jim is setting up the moment. Something is being constructed by him. His co-star is waiting, observing and anticipating that whatever follows would be the Jim Carrey brilliance. And then reality intervenes. It failed to bring success as the body of Jim was not willing to support his vision. His attempt at a move of any kind, whatever it may have been, came in between failure and disaster. The response of his co-star is self-explanatory. She's not laughing at the joke. She laughs at the human being behind the joke, the man that attempted to be cool and instead was hilarious. And that's the verdict. Not evil, not dangerous, just nuts in the best possible way. Jim Carrey is crazy in the sense that it is worth living. It is worth coming to a film set. It is worth spending decades of your life watching a blooper reel. Chapter 10, The Art of Improvised Romance. Most actors are well behaved and influenced by the script, but Jim Carrey is never hesitant to improvise. And frankly, we cannot have enough of it, particularly as his improvisations are capriciously snatched off into romance.
Your skin is so smooth.
I'd like to lick right now.
The co-psychic is playing with him, trying to remain in character, trying to make out this is part of the play. But Jim has other plans. The escalation is perfect, since it started with overall appeal to particular compliments on butt and skin, all leading to the proposal to lick. His co-star is done, finished, incapable of continuing. Jim has won and he knows it. It is the Jim Carrey special. Take a typical situation, put something totally out of the blues, and observe as all the people around you fail to perform their part as adult actors. It never gets old. Not for him, and certainly not for us. Chapter 11, The Tongue That Launched 1,000 Gifts. By the way, while we are talking about licking things, Jim Carrey has never feared to display to us what that tongue can do. It has become one of his trademarks, a physical tool of comedy, which has no peer in Hollywood. The delivery is everything. The manner he pulls the words, the manner in which his tongue appears to have a mind of its own, the manner in which his co-star finds it hard to remain composed whenever something unfamiliar occurs. It is classic Carrey, the type of scene that can be delivered only by a mind, which functions at an entirely different frequency as other people. We know one thing by spending years of our life watching Jim Carrey. As soon as that tongue comes out, it brings comedy. It's not sophisticated, it's not high art, but it is funny in a manner that is inexplicable. There are certain things that work, and the tongue of Jim Carrey is one of them. But Chapter 12, The Victory of the Intrusive Thoughts. In this scene, Jim Carrey allowed his intrusive thoughts to prevail, and the truth is, we were all thinking it.
If I was a boxer, I would bounce those things like Sugar Ray Leonard. I'm sorry.
His focus is, so to speak, high profile. It is the type of thing that most actors would pretend to be ignorant of, the type of thing the professional decorum requires you to disregard. However, Jim Carrey is not the majority of actors, and professional manners have never been an issue with him. The reaction of his co-star is invaluable. She attempts to be offended, to preserve a degree of dignity, but the laugh is already prevailing. Jim did not have to see the obvious. He made it a boxing analogy, with Sugar Ray Leonard illusion. Its effectiveness this is its particularity. Anybody could make a joke on what he is joking about. Jim Carrey would be the only person to draw the parallels between it and a legendary welterweight champion. This is the thing about Jim. He has a different vision of the world. He is aware of things that other humans have been conditioned not to see, and then he speaks of them as nobody would ever dream of. It's a gift, an odd, uncomfortable, funny present. Chapter 13. Steve Carell goes it alone. Even though Bruce Almighty was headlined by Jim Carrey, Steve Carell also proved that he also possessed some serious comedic abilities. It has become the scene that is legendary.
And another.
Steve gives himself to the bit, saying the line 2 more times as if it could in some way become normal had he repeated it 1,000 times. It doesn't. It just gets funnier. The crew is losing it. The director is likely to be wondering what he has done and what he deserves such. And future star of The Office and dozens of other comedies, Steve Carell is solidifying his position as one of the very few actors who can stand up to Jim Carrey and stand his ground. This scene is significant as it makes us remember that Jim Carrey does not break people only. Sometimes he elevates them. To deal with Jim, you have to go up to his standards or get left behind. Steve Carell will say, Chapter 14, when bloopers are the headliners. Movies are made with the help of actors. That's the deal. Show up, say your lines, go home. However, in the case of Jim Carrey, the blooper reel in most instances takes the center stage. In some cases, the outtakes can be funnier than the movie.
Martin Scorsese uses super slow motion photography to enhance his chilling tale of 5 men and a baby.
The reference is specific, the delivery is perfect, and the fall into anarchy is natural. And Jim is on the losing end, and he knows it. The take is deteriorating, yet he is enjoying himself too much to quit. His co-star is observing with the face of a person who has resigned his destiny. And that's it, the meaningless and sense-making line at the same time. Martin Scorsese going to optimize his ass. It's not comedy, it's something beyond comedy. It is Jim Carrey, of which only one person on earth speaks fluent language. Chapter 15, lines that won't pass. I am not going to hand this line to the mother. There are lines which should not be said. Jim Carrey knows this. What made him say them anyway?
To the mother.
The pseudo-wisdom is perfect. Jim is making up philosophy as he goes, and appearing profound whilst being totally ridiculous. His co-star is nodding, playing the game, and making a pretense that all this does make sense. Professional, businesslike, as though he has not just been talking nonsense all the last minute. This is the Jim Carrey method. Give yourself up to the absurd to the point of it being normal. Build reality in which stupidity is the wisdom, and all the other people are merely trying to keep up. Chapter 16, crabs, Jesus, and everything in between.
Have you ever had crabs?
Not this big.
The reaction is perfect. It's not a line, it's a prayer, a cry of salvation of whatever is going on, but there is no deliverance. Only Jim Carrey is asking questions about crabs, their size, and he is observing people around him go crazy. By the way of the Almighty, not even God is exempt in violating character. In Bruce Almighty, Morgan Freeman found out that the role of the creator does not cause you to resist the Jim Carrey effect. Simple enough. One scene, 2 actors walking together, but something there was in the vitality of Jim, in his physical devotion of the moment, which penetrated the legendary coolness of Morgan. The take fell apart, laughter won, and even God was turned into a gigom. Chapter 17, animal behavior. The behavior of animals on the set is never a sure thing. You never tell what a cat or dog or a trained monkey will do, and frankly speaking, Jim Carrey is not quite different in that respect.
Oh, are you eating that? Sorry.
The line is delivered, the moment is captured. After that, Jim sees something that alters all the things. The observation is bizarre, the delivery is perfect, and the take is technically closed. His voice is fatigued. This is what Jim has been doing all day, pushing limits, seeking jokes, breaking people around him. Even he tires out at some point, but not so fatigued as to stop being jocular. Jim is even impressed with his abilities at times. You have one right to be a little scared of yourself when you can do what he does without losing a sweat. Chapter 18, athleticism, let's talk. We are all aware that Jim Carrey is a genius in everything that is funny, but athleticism, needless to say, this is a blooper of a piece. The setup is simple. Jim must take some physical activity, nothing too demanding, not something that would put an average man to the test. But Jim, who is Jim, can make it unforgettable. What follows is not athletic, it's not graceful, it is not that which would impress a sports coach, but it makes one laugh and athleticism never could, since Jim Carrey knows that physical comedy is not about looking good, it's about looking human, flawed, real. The response of his co-star speaks volumes. This is not what should have happened. This is not what people had anticipated, but it is happening and you can do nothing about it but laugh. Chapter 19, When the Universe Writes the Punchline. Jim Carrey does not have to be brilliant with lines. Occasionally, the universe provides him with the punchline.
There are alarms on all the windows.
Not on the third floor.
No, sorry. Sorry.
The timing is perfect. The delivery is impeccable. However, the actual comedy is taking place somewhere outside the control of Jim, in between intention and reality. He is apologizing before something even happens, setting the stage to be punished before it probably will. This is what happens when working with Jim. It is not until you read at a glance that something more will come. The universe has a way of making Jim Carrey even funnier than he is already being. You never know when it will happen. It only takes a matter of being prepared to strike when it hits. Chapter 20, the scene that had to be shot more than once. In some cases, the perfection needs numerous takes. And Jim, we need not say that this scene in particular escaped his notice.
Can we just do that moment again? That sounds really strange, but can we do that just a couple more times?
The request is not malicious. There are constant requests of actors to do numerous takes. However, something in the way that Jim is saying makes it come across that what he is saying is not purely professional. There is something in his eyes that tell that it is not the end of a couple more times. His co-star is aware of what is going on. It is not the first time that she has experienced this. She has seen Jim discover a little and ride it till all the people around him are tired. She understands that couple more times is till we cannot breathe, but she plays along anyway. This is what you do when you are working with Jim Carrey. You surrender to the process. You embrace the fact that your dignity is a temporary thing, and you wish that the film is not worth the embarrassment. It always is. Chapter 21, even Hollywood veterans snap. Even experienced actors were unable to control their composure when being near Jim Carrey, and by the appearance of it, it is not difficult to wonder why.
They've run to the top of a mountain, rip their up, boom, bam.
The escalation is complete, pulling thumbs to tearing up mountaintops. None of it makes sense. All of it is hilarious. We're on camera. Is it going to work? Protector. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. Okay, let me just laugh some more. The self-knowledge is impeccable. Jim is aware that he has ruined the take. He knows his co-star is done. He knows the footage is gold, and he's okay with all of it. Comedy genius, improvisation genius, destroyer of takes. Jim Carrey forgets his line. Not that he is a bad professional, not because he doesn't care, but he has been too busy being funny to have time to remember what he was to say. Due to audience pressure, the film concludes with the writer decree that the man-word changed comedy forever. Jim Carrey did not only produce movies, he created moments. Instances that have immortality on blooper reels and YouTube collections, forwarded and reposted by millions who can never hear enough of his own kind of mayhem. Thanks for watching. To keep your love of this trip into the storm of Jim Carrey going, like and subscribe to more videos like this.